Hey everyone, this is Mr. Whitby, and today we will be going over the world culture. So we're going to be talking about culture and just understanding the different aspects of culture. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so what is culture? One may ask. Well, culture is a set of beliefs, values, and practices that a group of people have in common. Culture can include language, religion, music, even the way that you dress, to the foods that you eat. All of this is the way that people express their culture. All right, so let's look at cultural traits. Cultural traits, the book defines cultural traits as an activity or a behavior in which people often take part. So if you look at this picture lets you know the cultural traits. Let me move it so you guys can see the picture. So you have a greater community, knowledge and stories, language, traditions and rituals, technique and skills, tools and the arts, food and drink, and then values. These are some examples of cultural traits. How do cultural traits develop? Well, cultural traits are often learned or passed down from one generation to the next. Most cultural traits develop within families as traditions, foods, or holiday customs are handed down over years. When groups of people migrate from one place to another, the cultural trait can be shared with other people. Also, cultural traits are passed through technology, including TV, the internet, or social media, which these three things can spread cultures to different places and groups of people. So basically, if you look at it, and the question is, how do cultures develop? Cultures develop from family. They develop by large migrations of people from one place to another. Also, cultures can develop by watching TV or interaction on social media and technology. All right, so let's look at the major culture groups. So the major culture groups that we have are religious groups, racial groups, ethnic groups, and nationality groups. All right, so before I go on, let me break all of these down. Religion is your spiritual beliefs based on how you celebrate God or whatnot. Racial group, your racial identity is based on your pigmentation, or your race. But how it gets tricky is a lot of people don't understand the difference between racial groups and nationality group. Your nationality is the country that you live in. Racially, one may consider me to be African American, but my nationality is American. So that kind of separates those two. Racial and ethnic groups can be kind of used simultaneously. They're kind of the same, except like your ethnic group kind of taps into your religious group also. So the difference between racial and nationality. So when we say a person is Puerto Rican, that is not a racial identity, that's a nationality identity. If you say someone is Latino, someone is African American, someone is Black, someone is white, that's a racial identity. Cultural diversity. In America, we are a country of many different cultures. So cultural diversity is just identifying that you have basically groups of people from different places with different religious beliefs, and that creates cultural diversity. So the United States of America was developed as a country of people that migrated from several different countries. And because of this, we have so many different races, so many different religious groups. We have so many different groups, and therefore we have cultural diversity in our country. We have a lot of different cultures. So when you look at the picture, like look at all of these different people, these different kids. These different kids are going to come from different cultural backgrounds. This can be a great thing because they can use their cultural beliefs and ideas to teach other people about their cultures. But it can also be a bad thing because oftentimes people try to dominate with their culture. Like if you do something one way and another group of people do it differently, oftentimes we will dismiss the way that the other group of people do it because we're so accustomed to our own culture. And so sometimes with the cultural diversity, you have racism and prejudice like comes into play because of the cultural diversity. And I'll get more into that later. But ethnic groups, an ethnic group is a group of people who share a common culture and an ancestry. So ethnic groups normally share different cultural traits, which can include religion, language, and even like their love for different types of food. Multicultural society is a society that basically exists of several different cultures and it's celebrated. So if you look at the picture, you will see people from different racial and ethnic backgrounds. And therefore, like I stated earlier, this can become a problem when when you have racial prejudice or religious intolerance, which leads to cultural feuds. All right, cultural diffusion. Cultural diffusion is when a culture that's from one place spreads to other places. And if you go back to the idea of cultures, when we talk about it, right? So how does culture spread? It can spread by a large group of people moving from one country to another country. It can spread by social media or technology. So the spread of culture, right? That's cultural diffusion. And so cultural diffusion, I'll give you guys an example of cultural diffusion. The fact that many people in Japan now listens to hip hop, and Japan has its own type of drill music and trap hip hop music, which are two different types of hip hop. And hip hop is a genre of music, but hip hop within its framework has developed its own culture, its cultural identity. Cultural universals. Although there are so many different aspects of culture, there are three features that all aspects of culture can fall into, and it's called cultural universals. So cultural universals are expressed in these different three ways. So you have social institution, you have creative expression, and you have technology. So for instance, I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We have step shows and stepping, we sing songs, and we have things that are the culture of our fraternity that will fall under social institutions. Hip hop would fall under creative expressions, and then anything related to like TikTok or some of these different technological things that we express ourselves, they will fall under technology. So social institutions, we have different social institutions. So you have family, education, religion, government, and economy. Family is like the most basic and the most important aspect of the development of culture. Let me tell you why. Most of the things that you learn from your family. You learn from your parents. Your parents will teach you what you can do and what you can't do. How they will influence how you dress. They will influence the foods that you are introduced to. So the family aspect is one of the most important aspects of culture and how culture is disseminated to people. The next thing, yes, it's very important, is education. When you look at schools, whether they're public schools or private schools, whether they are colleges or universities, people from different cultural backgrounds go to one place and they are expected to embrace the cultural norms, the social norms. That means that everyone must act a certain way. Even though we are from different cultures and we may have different beliefs, we are expected to do certain things and not to do certain things. Those things are taught at school. The social norms are taught and expressed at school, because most of the things that students are written up for are things that are outside of the social norm. Like if you're violent, then we know in school we can't express violence, we can't hit other students, therefore you will be written up, you will be suspended, you will be placed in alternative school. So that teaches you the cultural norms that exist within your society. That's why education is important. The next one that's very important is religion. Like religion is important because we develop our laws and our traditions based on religion. We have, like, as a Christian, we know that the Bible tells, it says, thou shalt not kill. And it's a lot of rules that are stated within the Bible for Christians. And it'll be the same way if you look at the Torah for Judaism, or the Quran for Islam, the books that they use in Buddhism and some of these other religions. They all have practices or things that you can and you can't do that's taught within the religious teaching. The next thing we have is government. Government establishes laws, and if you don't exist within the social norms, the government has a place for you. And we know that the government developed prisons, and that institute and the judicial system is the institutions that make sure that individual citizens stick to and follow the overall culture of the country and respect the social norms. The last thing is the economy. We understand that some of our culture is tied to, in America, us being a capitalistic nation, a nation that believes in free market and free enterprise. So there are incentives for you to, embrace the cultural aspects, and that incentive can be money, it can be a promotion, it can just be getting hired to certain companies. So for example, let's say that a person has tattoos all over their face. Yes, that's a cultural form of expression. But within certain business and companies, they will not hire you because you have tattoos on your face or you have tattoos on your neck, because they'll say that goes against their company policy and it may hurt their overall businesses. But you have some businesses that will hire those people. So the economy, businesses, and money tends to send the message and influence culture as well. All right, so creative expressions. There are three ways that people in society express themselves creatively. That's performing arts, visual arts, and literary arts. They can come in. You also have universal themes, and universal themes give people messages about life and our human nature that is meaningful across time and in all places. Another influence that we spoke about already is the influence of science and technology. Science and technology refers to the use of knowledge, tools, and skills to solve problems within society. Science also gives us a way to understand the world through observation and testing ideas. Science and technology influences culture, and we use those to impact culture. All right, so hopefully this presentation has helped you guys in getting information about culture, how culture is spread, how culture goes, throughout our society. Use this, take notes, and use this to complete your assignments. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.